If you don't have 30 seconds to spare, then the short answer is after you figure out your damage sources, you want to add Apollo and Aphrodite into your build, specifically Apollo Sprint. And then after that, you want to apply weak to your enemies via Glamour Gain for the magic regen slot or Aphrodite's cast. After that, you can do whatever you want with your build and have fun with it. And that's usually enough. That's usually enough to get like easy wins on the base difficulty. And I still rely on that same combination of boons for all of my 32 fear runs. That's mostly because I'm not a great player, so I have to resort to using very specific boon combinations to kind of make my runs easier for myself. And if you find yourself to be in that position where you're not as mechanically gifted as some other Hades players that are pushing 32 fear, then this build should probably help you out too. As proof of this, I have every testament completed, and I also have both surface and underground completed at 32 fear. So here's my proof. Here's my statues. I'm going to move over to a newer save to kind of explain some of the things that you need for as a new player to get your run started. Obviously, if you're further along than I am on this save file, so this save file is like 8 nights in or something. If you're further along than I am, then it should be even easier to pull off. And I'm going to recommend that you at least have the Kindred Keepsakes. This allows you to change your keepsakes between each region. Hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler. This save file is like 8 nights in, so if you haven't reached this point, then just keep playing the game. Also, if you're still getting cursed by ERIS, even though she calls it a blessing, if you're still being cursed by ERIS, don't worry, that will eventually go away. I believe on either the 8th night or the 10th night. Once she's out of the way, you'll likely get a win just based off of that already. But if you're still struggling, again, this video should help you, and if you're still struggling to get 32 fear done, this video should also be very useful for you. And I'll eventually post a run, I'll post a few runs actually, of me completing 32 fear with a few different weapons if you guys want further proof, or if you just want to see the decisions I make for 32 fear. But yeah, if you're a new player and you have your Arcana set up, I'm purposely using a new save or a fresh save to kind of show what kind of things you want to go for early on. I'll try not to over-explain it too much, but basically you want Wayward Sun for extra healing per room. Persistence is extra HP. That's always nice. Furies is extra damage for enemies in your cast. This is really strong. Origination is basically mandatory in every single build. Having 2 curses is very easy to pull off, and the bonus 25% damage is incredibly strong. It's multiplicative. Just know that Origination is a big source of your damage, and any sort of damage boosts that you get in your run gets multiplied by this, so it's always nice to have. Further along, I have the Boatman. Extra gold to buy more boons at the start is really nice, and I'm currently using Strength as the Arcana card. Everyone's going to probably tell you that Strength is the best Arcana to have, and it's better than Death Defiance, and in very simple terms, it is probably just better overall for the early game. And when you eventually get the ability to upgrade your Arcana cards, Death, once maxed out, gives you 3 Death Defiances instead of 1, and at that point I would say it's largely up to preference, especially at 32 fear. It's largely up to preference. Unless you're running something like Vow of Scars, which completely removes any source of healing, then I would say Death Defiance is a bit more useful than Strength. For me personally, if you're wondering how I like to run it, generally I run Strength for most of my like runs that are under 32 fear, and then at 32 fear I prefer Death Defiance personally, but still it's preference. Feel free to experiment. It's your game. Everyone has a slightly different play style, so please experiment. Have fun with it. You know, it's a roguelite at the end of the day, so dying shouldn't be that much of a problem. If you had more Arcana, let's just say you had more Grasp than I did, right? Because I'm using a fresh account or a fresh save. The Champions is going to be really nice for controlling RNG. Being able to reroll boons to get what you want earlier is incredibly good. Enchantress is also great. Being able to reroll location rewards to change what you want is also super nice. And if you activate all 3 of these cards that I'm highlighting right now, it also unlocks the Fates, which is another 2 rerolls. But I think for the sake of this video, to keep it very simple, the main thing is the boons, right? The build that makes the game a lot easier. And you can run this combination basically on every single weapon that I know of. The only thing that you want to change out mostly is, like, the Apollo Sprint is basically mandatory. Or not mandatory, but that's the easiest one to fill in. An exception to that would be, like, using Supai, but that's again, that's like one specific weapon aspect that requires a very different sprint. For the most part, every other weapon you can run a Apollo Sprint, and for most weapons you can just run Glamour Gain, which is Aphrodite's magic regen boon, and that will give you the ability to both put daze on the enemies by just dashing through them, and being near them puts weakness on them. So you're taking 30% less damage from the weak status effect, 20% chance to dodge, and you have an additional 30% damage reduction from the Strength Arcana card, which, by the way, if you upgrade this, the damage reduction is 40%. If the Strength card is fully maxed out, you'll have 40% damage reduction, 30% from the weak status effect, and then 20% dodge from Apollo. And that's just baseline, right? We're not even talking about, like, other boons, such as Hestia's, what's it called? Hestia has one that gives you more dodge. Hermes has some stuff that gives you some dodge. Aphrodite has an infusion called Wispy Wiles, which gives you even more dodge. She also has spiritual affirmation, which increases your max HP and max magic. Hephaestus has some stuff that boosts your HP. There's a ton of different boons that boost your HP. Just focusing on getting Glamour Gain and Apollo Sprint should handle most of your runs. And then from there, you can kind of do whatever you want, so long as you have a decent damage source and you're able to activate 2 curses, which should be easy with Glamour Gain plus the days from Apollo Sprint. The run's pretty much yours, and you don't really have to worry too much. The main keepsakes you want to have, I like Zeus. I think Zeus fits in a lot of builds. And again, you definitely want to have Apollo and Aphrodite if you're trying to follow along. What's going to basically happen is, in most of these runs, pick your favorite god or Olympian that you want to use for your damage source. Some basic ones that are very common is Zeus fits in almost like every build. So if you're ever unsure, you can run Zeus. If you're using any sort of like fast hitting weapons, Poseidon and Hestia are fine. I won't go into too much detail from that point on though, since I think most people are just more focused on the how to survive part. I'm going to be using the Mel staff, the starting staff, just because it's easy to use. And if you're learning the game, it's much easier to learn the game and understand how enemies work and how they attack when you're attacking from a distance, rather than, you know, being within kissing range and, you know, having to deal with all the visual clutter that the knives have. So I see a lot of the melee weapons, plus having to dodge all the stuff on screen, it makes it kind of hard to know what you're looking at when you're just mashing buttons in melee, especially with all the extra special effects on top. So if you're still struggling with like understanding what enemies do and you don't mind running the staff, then I would say use the staff. The main combo we're using doesn't require the use of magic at all, so you don't have to worry about using Omega Casts, Omega Cast or Omega Specials or Omega Attacks. You don't have to worry about that. The main thing you want to learn how to do is dash, attack, and special. That's it. This is going to be your bread and butter, and you're not going to really deviate from this ever. It keeps the playstyle super simple too. So the playstyle allows you to just kind of dodge when you need to, and then immediately respond with a really decent amount of damage, especially with the right boons. On this save file, again, I don't have everything unlocked, so hopefully this is a bit more usable for people that are new to the game. So, proof of concept, I don't have anything unlocked. I have very basic Arcana cards. I have only 20 Grasp that I'm using at the moment. The main keepsakes you want are Apollo and Aphrodite for survivability later on. Again, pick your favorite Olympian that you want to use for damage as your first keepsake, and then hope that you find Apollo or Aphrodite naturally. If not, then in the next region, we're going to equip one of these two and try to force Aphrodite or Apollo to show up to get some survivability into our build. And that's it. So I'm going to start a run and give some commentary about the kind of choices I make, and I'm going to specifically choose rewards that focus on survivability for new players, and yeah, that's it. All right, we're gonna start our run again. I think we're on night 8 or something. So fresh. It's a relatively fresh save. We picked Zeus as our first god Olympian. We have his keepsake, And we have exactly what we want already. We want the Blitz on attack. So the main combo here is we're going to put Blitz on enemies with the attack and then press the special button to trigger it. Now, with base Melstaff doing only 40 damage on special, you're not going to hit the 120 damage threshold to activate the Blitz immediately, which is fine. It's fine. It just means our DPS is a little bit slower than what it should be. But for future reference, I guess when you max this staff out, the special does 80 damage per shot, and at that point, any percentage, any like percent boost special, like Afro, Apollo, Demeter, etc., they're gonna immediately put you into the 120 damage threshold, which means every time you do a combo of attack plus special, you're going to instantly trigger the Blitz for the bonus damage. We don't have that right now because it's a fresh save. But it's fine. It just means we got to do 2 rotations instead of 1 rotation to activate the Blitz, which is more than enough for beating the base game, if we're not including any difficulty modifiers. So we're just doing the same combo and just clearing rooms. Again, if you want to get into the habit of it, if you're new to the game, I recommend putting down your cast whenever you can. It doesn't completely freeze enemies in the AoE, but it does slow them down quite a bit, and it gives you a lot of space and positioning control. Let's see. So Selene hexes are really strong. Granted, you have to use magic to charge them up. And I'm not really interested in using Omega attacks for this build, so we're going to skip Selene. I guess you could also say that we don't really care for magic either, so I guess technically either one isn't really an ideal choice for me. And again, if you have the ability to reroll your rooms, if you had the Arcana to do so, I would reroll probably this one and see if you can get like another major reward. There are a handful of Selene upgrades that will allow you to passively charge the hex without spending magic, so I'm going to take Selene anyway for the time being. I'm not planning on building a whole playstyle or build around it, so I'm not too worried about. I'm not really too worried about this as a reward, but we do need to clear rooms anyway. Did I gift her before? I don't think we did. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like it's a save just for demonstration purposes. So out of all these, I like Twilight Curse. Oh, Palm is really nice. Because we only have one thing to palm, which is the Blitz itself. This is really good since Blitz damage increases via palming is very strong, especially in the early levels. It gives a very consistent and a very significant amount per level, so it's always worth grabbing. So yeah, 120 to 140 is really nice. You need to also remember that we're gonna multiply this 140 with, you know, having enemies in cast will boost another 20%. If we get the ability to curse an enemy with 2 different curses, in which case we have Apollo right here. If we get the ability to put Daze on an enemy, we'll have Blitz plus Daze, which is another 25% extra damage on top of that. So we're going to go for Apollo. I'm hoping to get Sprint. If not, then... if not, we're going to try to avoid... I don't really want him as a special. Because his special does not apply a curse. So... despite the damage boost being pretty nice, it's not really what I'm looking for to activate Origination. In this case, want to be careful. Enemies that have armor do not flinch. You can't stun them. You can't flinch them out of stuff, so you have to respect their moveset. So that's what I'm doing for the time being. Just take your time. Once the armor's broken, you can just spam them down. No big deal. Alright. For the Apollo boon, we're looking for the Sprint, which we did not get, so that's a bit awkward. Another thing you want to make note of if you're trying to do this build with the Glamour Gain and Apollo Sprint, you do not want to grab any boon that regenerates your magic in this case, unless you really, really need it. With our current build, we don't need magic or magic regen, so we don't want to fill up this slot with Lucid Gain. If we do grab this, for example, instead of waiting for Aphrodite to show up for Glamour Gain, what happens is the game will not offer Aphrodite's magic regen if you've already selected one previously. This is not an absolute rule. There are certain conditions in which you can replace one for another. But for the most part, if I grab this, Aphrodite will not offer her magic regen boon, aka Glamour Gain, unless certain conditions are met. So I'm going to ignore this one. I also want a different special. I don't want Nova Flourish. 60% of 40 damage is what, like just over 20. So that'll push us towards like 60 something damage. It's still not enough to activate the Blitz, which requires 120 damage to be done. So in this case, I'll take extra dose. It's not ideal, but I am going to be fishing for other Olympians. Hopefully we can get Apollo Boon to show up again, and we can choose a sprint. Currently, we don't have Origination. We have Artemis showing up, which is really nice. I'm just going to focus on clearing this room. So far, it's pretty straightforward. You just play your spaces out, position, you know, somewhat away from the enemy. You don't have to play very close. You don't have to take any risks. I like to put my cast down whenever those screaming lady enemies pop up. They're kind of scary when you're new because they just kind of run you down with this like constant cone damage. So whenever I see them show up, I usually just drop my cast and just go backwards and, you know, poke them from afar.
Got all the way down to the house.
So we have Artemis showing up, and we have some decent options. We don't have any good way of dealing with armor right now, so I'm going to choose probably Vital Signs. Killing Stroke is also really good though. So this puts me in a really weird position where I think we take Killing Stroke. I think so. You could make an argument for Vital Signs, but we're going to be spamming our specials a lot, and priming our magic doesn't matter to us because we don't use Omega attacks. So we'll take this. Yoink. We have 300 gold. We'll go shopping. Maybe we can get like a cool god or goddess to show up. Aphrodite. Okay, so that means we already have Apollo in our pool, and we have Zeus in our pool. So our third god that we're introducing, outside of the special gods like Artemis, we're gonna be bringing in Aphrodite. This is kind of a super lucky run. I might have to like re-record another run for if your RNG isn't as good, because this feels super lucky. This feels super lucky. Okay, this is actually also a good example. So Rapture Ring allows you to put weak on enemies via cast, and let's just say if you're running a very spammy Omega build and you want to use a lot more mana than what Glamour Gain could regenerate for you, you could apply weak via your cast instead, and then go for a different magic regen from a different Olympian. That's totally fine. But again, I don't use magic, and I don't really want to constantly put down my cast just for the weakness status effect. So we could take Flooded Flourish. 150% extra damage at close range. Still does not put our damage at 120 per special, but 150% damage is pretty nice. And I can't reroll, unfortunately, so I have to take something. I could take Rapture Ring and still wait for Glamour Gain. That's still an option. And we could take Fluttered Flourish. I still want something else on Fluttered Flourish, especially when Melstaff isn't upgraded. I prefer to have, like, I don't know, like Poseidon special, Hestia special, even Demeter special, like some sort of freeze is like some sort of status effect is kind of nice. So in this case, I think I'll take Rapture Ring. But if you want to grab special here, that's also totally fine. I don't think you could go wrong with either or. So yeah, we'll take Raptor Ring. All right, so we'll take Hammer. Hammer is almost always a must grab. Just for the potential of getting really strong modifiers like double shot. Double shot would instantly... Double shot plus any boon at that point for your special would allow you to activate Blitz instantaneously. But this is fine for now. This is fine. Let's see what we get. If we do get double moonshot or double shot or whatever, I might skip it just for the sake of the video because double shot itself is so strong that it kind of hard carries your run. And thankfully we didn't get it. Melting Swipe is super strong though. A lot of the major elite fights that people struggle with in this game, you can generally solve it if you pick a hammer that helps melt armor. So I'm gonna grab Melting Swipe.
My silver shines.
Hef. I'm not gonna take Hef for this video. I feel like Hef boons are kind of they're not hard to play around necessarily, but they are. I think they do play a bit differently. And I don't really want to worry about explaining Hef boons for the attack and special, so we'll skip Hef in this case, which is fine. If you want to take Hef in your run, go ahead. I think he is a fun Olympian to play with, but for this video, I'm gonna try to keep it simple. I also don't want my special to be on a very long cooldown to activate the boon. So that's another reason why I'm avoiding Hef. That's not to say that Hef boons are weak necessarily. They're just a little bit needy. Hef is the kind of guy that wants a lot of palms. Either a lot of palms or a lot of rarity in this case. Okay, so we're on location 11 on the top right, which means after the next room, we're going to have to fight the boss. So we're going to have to take Apollo here and pray for the sprint boon, or we go for the shop. Normally, I would say you should probably take the shop. I kind of want to risk it and go for Apollo to get the sprint. But if I'm assuming that I'm going to play this game like normal, if I'm assuming that I'm playing this game as if I'm not recording and I'm just playing, we'll take shop. I almost always take shop, just for the chance at Centaur Hearts and stuff. And we have Poseidon.
In the name of Hades.
This works. I'm going to try to take Poseidon special if it's available, and it is. So we are in a bit of a pickle. Well, no, we're not in a bit of a pickle. We have two sources of curse right now. We have Blitz, which is a curse, and we have weakness from Rapturing. So we have a way to activate origination for the bonus damage. And again, strength allows us to take 30% less damage, and Rapturing also makes enemies deal like 30% less damage. So we're already taking 60% less, so long as the enemy is affected by this, which is really nice. We could take the palm here. I think I will. Rapturing +1. Not bad. Okay, so we'll take that and we'll go into the boss fight.
Hold.
You can avoid the hex in this boss fight,
Chronos, everything you've
which
trained me to do.
I think I will show you guys how to dodge the hex later on,
Still more to learn.
and then I'll purposely take the hex so I could show you what you can do if you do get polymorphed. So I'm gonna wait for the circle, go in, put down my cast, activate origination. We're gonna do a lot of damage with Blitz. Blitz does a lot of damage in general. And since we have a source of, since we have two curses, origination is very easy to pop. Origination is going to boost the damage of everything else, including our Blitz. And soon we should reach phase 2 or phase 3, whatever you want to call it. So the polymorph comes out. You can dodge through it like this until it runs out. I'm going to take the curse anyway to show you how to dodge. Basically, you press dodge and then attack afterwards to double dash. And you kind of just want to double dash around the arena to avoid stuff like this. So hopefully if you're having issues with either getting polymorph or just dodging it in general, that's how you do either or. Again, we're putting the cast down to put down the weakness curse. And then Blitz is going to proc the second curse for origination. Alright, so that's Hecate done. That's Hecate done. Let's see what we have next.
He's there.
We already have Aphrodite in our pool. And we have Apollo in our pool. So for our keepsakes, we can kind of choose whatever. At this point, if you want to guarantee Apollo to show up now in the next area, you could. And I think we will. I'm gonna take Harmonic Photon. I need to level up this keepsake anyway.
The photon.
So I'm going to grab it. And if you're wondering what the Harmonic Photon does, it makes a Boon of Apollo likely, and you can rarefy his common blessings once this night. So it basically forces Apollo to show up at some point in the next region. And I want Apollo to show up so that I have a source of days so I can get my 20% dodge. We already have a source of week, which although it's not on Glamour Gain, it's fine. It's fine. Not every run's going to be perfect. And you'll be able to control this RNG a lot more once you have better Arcana. But I'm hoping this run helps new players kind of see what you can do already with very little. We're going to take the Apollo. So hopefully this helps if you're a new player. Again, I mean, if you're stuck on night 8, night 9, etc., just keep playing the game and just unlock more stuff. It's a roguelite, so you can just play more and get better upgrades, and that'll make your runs even easier. But I'm just trying to make it a point that you can have very little and still do pretty well. We could go shopping, and you know what? I think I will. Well, let me check the shop here real quick. No. We can probably buy a boon here. We have Poseidon. Now, with Poseidon Special, if you guys don't know, it doesn't come with the curse initially. But Poseidon does have a boon called Slippery Slope, which does turn his splash damage into a curse. And also, it's a good source of damage. Froth is a really good source of damage. So I think I will take this and pray for Slippery Slope to show up. It did not, which is unfortunate. We're going to take Buried Treasure instead. A little bit of extra money doesn't hurt, right? We can also take a Selene boon, but again, we're not... Like, I don't think we really care for it, so I'm going to ignore it for now. So we already have Apollo Sprint handled, right? So Apollo Sprint makes it so that when we sprint around an enemy, they will be affected by daze for 9 seconds, which is essentially 20% dodge for us. Now, what is considered a sprint? Dashing, just the plain dash itself does count as a sprint. This will activate Apollo's boon. So if you're worried that like, oh, I have to run around like this to activate it before I can start fighting, you don't have to. You can just focus on dodging and attacking like this, and it will activate the Blinding Rush boon. So hopefully that helps you out with your concerns about that. I still want Glamour Gain on my magic regen so that I don't have to worry about constantly placing this next to the enemy when I want to proc weakness. So I think I will take this. Also, it's an elite fight. And again, we do have the... Where is it? We do have Melting Swipe. So dash strikes, hit a larger area, and deal 900 plus 900 to armor. So dash strike would be the dash plus attack. This is a dash strike. So this fight should be pretty straightforward.
You're in my way.
Take care of the ads. Also, if this enemy puts out a projectile, just stay far away. It's much easier to dodge a projectile when it splits like that. But again, we're going to pop the armor and just do our combo. Be done with it.
Simple play.
We're going to grab this, and we have Glamour Gain. And some other things that Aphrodite can offer also help a lot with survivability. Spiritual Affirmation is really nice. And honestly, I may choose this. I may choose this because we already have a source of weak. I may choose this. For the sake of the video, though, to kind of like push things forward and stick to what I was talking about, I will take Glamour Gain. So you can kind of see.
That's a feeling there.
So you can kind of see like at what distance does it activate, what is considered near, what's considered far. So right here is considered near. So it's a pretty good distance actually. You don't have to be in melee range to activate the damage reduction. So any enemies with the hearts around their character or their model will do 30% less damage to you. And this stacks with the Strength Arcana card. So this is another 30% damage reduction. So that's really, really nice. We could take a Chaos Room. I don't have a lot of max HP right now, unfortunately. But
Fine. It's only blood.
hopefully we can sort that out later with some Centaur Hearts, if we can find some. Or maybe Chaos could offer something. Let's see. It's not a lot that I want to take here. These are all kind of bad. Well, not bad, but not really things I want to take. Paralyzing Creation is not bad. I don't want to be stunned for 1.4 seconds. So I'm going to not take this. We don't use Omega moves, so this technically doesn't do anything for us. And the first one, we don't really care for magic anyway. So I think I will take this just because it doesn't affect our game. And the other bonuses I don't really care about too much. So we'll just take this. So unfortunately we didn't get anything useful from Chaos this time around, but I'm not too worried about it. We already have good damage. Damage is looking really good. We can proc Origination simply by being near the enemy, which puts weakness on them, and Blitz itself is also a curse, so we get very easy damage boosts. Very easy Origination proc for simply existing. You know when Origination procs, when the health bars of an enemy have that weird orange, that orangey X like icon next to their health bar. That's the that is the Origination status effect, or card rather. Location 22. That means the next room after these ones are going to be the boss room. I want to take the Centaur Heart for the extra HP. I'm hoping we can maybe find a Centaur Heart in the shop room itself, so that I could buy one and get a boon. Unfortunately not. I will take the Zeus boon though. We have some options here. Ionic Gain would replace Glamour Gain, which I don't want, so we're not grabbing that. Romantic Spark isn't bad. Divine Vengeance is also not bad if you take a lot of hits. Because I have a prophecy to fulfill with this one, I'm going to grab Romantic Spark. I will pay for the extra health, and we'll go on to the boss fight.
Look, everyone! Go! I wasn't going. There were. Shoot her!
Generally, I like to attack the drummer first, so I will do that, and just kind of avoid Scylla. I'll avoid her for a bit. Focus on the guitarist. I think her name's Jetty. Wait for it to open up, and then dodge the attack that comes out. There you go. And then we'll go for the drummer again. Dodge through there. You see the X on top of their heads? That orange X? That is the Origination Arcana card being active. Lets you know that you're doing bonus damage. Alright, so now the drummer's out of the way. Go after the guitarist. That's done. Then we have Scylla. Just play at mid-distance. She can't really hurt you at mid-distance. And just continue your combo. Remember to put down your cast. Enemies within your cast take extra damage. Also, it helps control all the little ankle biters that show up. Grab this. On to the next area.
No sirens, thank the gods.
Alright, so we have our conditions met, like I mentioned before. We have our blinding rush, we have our glamour gain. So we have the things I was talking about all fulfilled. We have our sources of damage reduction, and we have the 20% chance to dodge. At this point, you can play however you want. Feel free to experiment with different boons, different combinations, different keepsakes. I'm going to grab, in my case, I'm going to grab concave stone.
The stone.
And I'm going to go to the next area and continue playing. At this point, you could probably just... you don't have to watch past this point if you want to just enjoy the game. I think I've given you enough of a blueprint for what you should do, especially if you're new. And again, if you're pushing 32 fear, I highly recommend that you try out this build. Not specifically the Mel staff and the blitz stuff, but mostly the incorporating Apollo and Aphrodite into your sprint and magic regen or cast in order to make use of their curses. All my 32 fear runs have been pretty smooth. I wouldn't say completely easy, although I guess that's very subjective, but I would say that I'm not exactly... Mechanically, I'm not exactly the best Hades player. Not by a long shot. So, and I hope that makes my advice a little bit more relevant and relatable to people that are also struggling. Because I don't play perfectly. Not at all. And I'm not really good enough at the game where I could just do whatever wacky builds or wacky combinations and like pull out a free win. So I've resorted to running this combination of boons pretty frequently. And I'm just thankful that it works. Alright, Path of Stars. What do we have here? This is the Morph Hex, right? I'm trying to see if there's a node here where it charges up our Hex automatically for us. And we do have one right here. Growth. Your Hex also charges up automatically as though you've used one every 1 second. I think that's the one I want to grab. I'm trying to see if there's any other nodes like that on the other branch. There isn't. So yeah, we'll go here. And your Hex can bounce towards up to 10 foes. I do think I want that over anything else in here. Sustenance is okay, but I think affecting more foes is what I want for now. Is there anything else that we're missing? Not that I know of. We'll grab this. Always need more currency. And we have an elite fight coming up. So you have two strategies here. You can focus the main boss and try to run all around the thunderbolts. If you're not on a timer though, I see no reason to stress yourself out with trying to dodge all of that. So just kill the Lamia on the outside. Get in position to fight the elites and just take care of her like that. It shouldn't be too bad. We'll grab Aphrodite again. Not like we have a choice. I can't reroll anything. So we have a few options. Heartbreaker is not an option. Shameless Attitude, though, is not bad. This is a decent bonus. 7% if we're below 80%. And if we're above 80% health, this is a bonus of 14% extra damage, actually. So this is really nice. If you want more survivability, though, we have Broken Resolve. And this makes your weak effects more potent. So weak damage reduction is, instead of 30%, it's 42%. So we could grab this. And I want to grab Shameless Attitude. I want more damage. For the sake of the video and boosting your survivability, I will grab Broken Resolve. But if you're feeling more confident in your dodging and your positioning, then feel free to grab the other one for more damage.
I wish I must have been
Let's see. What do we want here? Double the level of a random one of your boons whose level is higher than the rest. Double the level of a random one of your boons whose level is higher than the rest. So, if we grab this one, it'll double the level of either Heaven Strike, Rapture Ring, or Extra Dose. And ideally, I do want it on Heaven Strike, but that's a 33% chance that'll happen. So instead, I'll probably grab the first reward instead. Hopefully we can get like Wispy Wiles. There we go. Wispy Wiles. Here's another survivability boon that you want to grab if you ever see it. You can also make an argument for grabbing Spiritual Affirmation for more HP. I'm going to grab Wispy Wiles though. This makes it so that every air infusion that you have, which we currently have 5, gives you an extra 2% dodge. So this is another 10% dodge. And our Keepsake activated. So now we have both. So we got a little bit lucky there. Okay, so now we have 12% dodge from Wispy Wiles. We have another 20% from this. So we're at 32% dodge now at this point. Effectively. So we have 32% chance to dodge. And with the weak status effect plus strength, we have 60% damage reduction. So you can kind of see at this point, as long as you're still actively dodging and not truly face tanking and turning your brain off, you can see how strong this build gets. You get a lot of second chances. A lot of second chances while you're learning the game. And those second chances are incredibly useful too at high fear. Well, I don't know. Is 32 considered high fear? It's, I guess, the highest that the game asks you. So to me, I consider it high fear, but I'm sure some of the veterans might say that's not considered high fear. High fear is like maybe 40 plus, 50 plus, or whatever. But for the sake of the, I guess, intended gameplay, is that the right word to say? For all intents and purposes, it's having a lot of second chances at 32 fear is super nice. Oftentimes, the main thing that gets people at higher fear is either they lack damage, or they lack survivability. I'm going to take Mirrored Thrasher. This makes our attacks hit for 2 times, but it does cost 5 magic. Again, I don't mind if I run out of magic at this point, but the double strike is nice for, you know, the start of every fight. Not a big deal. If we run out of magic, no big deal. We're just back to what we were before grabbing the hammer. But it does spike our damage quite a bit, which is super nice. We'll grab this gold. And again, don't forget to cast. I kind of forgot about casting a little bit in the video since I was more focused on explaining things. But yeah, don't forget to cast whenever you can. Just put them down. Gives you lots of spacing and control. Keeps a lot of enemies away from you. Also increases your damage.
I can get out now.
So that's always nice. Location 30. I want a Centaur Heart, but I also want to buy more boons. So I'm gonna go shopping.
My way.
If you want the Centaur Heart instead, that's totally fine. Oh, we have one here too, actually. So lucky us. I'm going to buy the boon first. Let's see, what do we have as options? Alright, Sweet Surrender is really good. 10% extra damage towards enemies that have weak. So now we have another source of another damage increase. Secret Crush is also a solid option. I would rather Secret Crush to be at a higher rarity. But that's okay. We'll grab Sweet Surrender instead. Secret Crush is also an option though. So if you want this instead, that's totally fine. But I'm taking this one. Alright, now we're at the doggo.
Heads up.
The doggo. I'm gonna try to get in range to drop my cast so I can increase my damage. And you can see with the Blitz procs that we're doing a decent amount of damage. Not an earth-shattering amount right now, but it's definitely nothing to scoff at. Also, our Hex is charged up, so when he summons ads, we can just polymorph him. Put our cast back down. Polymorph. I'm surprised the orb did not go after the other two. I thought we had a limit of 10, but maybe there's a duration on how long the projectile can last. So that was a little strange, but that's okay. Focus on spacing, avoid damage. Get behind the dog during that attack. Get your damage in. And there you go. That Cerberus. Not too bad with Melstaff. Again, it's easier to dodge his AoE attacks when you already have a decent amount of space.
You're looking better already.
He's not too bad with melee either. You just have to be a little bit more aware of when he slams his paws onto the ground.
My keepsakes
Alright,
manifest.
so now we're in the final area. I recommend using Knuckle Bones. There's a few other keepsakes you can use, but I don't have those to show right now. Knuckle Bones you get from Odysseus at the crossroads. So we're taking this, and we're going to continue forward.
One last drop.
We're on night 8, so I think ERIS can show up here.
Not much farther now.
So if that does happen, that's fine. She hasn't, so we got lucky. Okay, so I guess night 8 is when she stops. I remember back in like the early access, I think, I could be wrong, but I think in early access, like you could have her show up like 14 times or something. At least it felt like 14 times for me. It was not fun. So whatever they did this time for release is great. She used to hang around a lot. I'm assuming that was largely due to needing to hamper our progression as early access players. But now that the game's out, I guess they don't need to do that anymore. It's no longer needed. We'll grab this.
Mine.
Let's see. We're gonna take this room. Say hi to Pops.
Father.
My bro.
Father.
Let's see what we have. These are all solid options. I like Howling Soul. Deep Descent is also really nice too. And I think I will take this one. We don't have very explosive AoE damage, so having less mobs during the Chronos fight is incredibly nice. It's not bad, it's not bad. Alright, let's see. Take care of him.
Let that be a lesson.
Go to the next room. There. Clear out the mobs. These shield guys are super annoying. You want to get behind them if you can
Damn it.
when you're attacking. I understand it's not always possible, so... But if you can, try to. I don't like fighting them. Them blocking attacks is also super annoying. Alright.
A few more chambers still.
I kind of wish we can get another Zeus Spoon. I would like Double Strike if possible. That'll also improve our damage quite a bit. We also don't have Slippery Slope, if I remember correctly, from Poseidon. So we're also missing quite a bit of damage from him too.
Can't do it.
Oh, whoops. That should be all of them, right? All right, perfect. Let's see, who do we have? No one else, really. Normally you get side rooms. Oh, I should probably also explain the numbered door system. It's basically if you want to go straight to the boss, you take the numbered door, and every time you clear a door with a number, it goes down. up until you reach 0, in which case you end up at the boss room. The game also offers extra side rooms if you decide to do them for extra rewards. And if you're wondering why would you ever not take a side room for extra rewards, there are difficulty modifiers you can turn on later in the game. And one of those modifiers is a timer, where if you don't beat a region in time, you essentially just die. So in those cases, you might make the decision to just rush for the boss instead. And let's see. I think we'll take Apollo here. I say that as if I had a choice. In this case, you could take Light Smite or Perfect Image. I'm going to take Perfect Image. 20% damage boost is really nice.
What do we have in stock?
And
Quick dip.
it's now time to take on Chronos. Again, I'm trying to not purposely just face tank things, but I'm trying to prove a point that even if you don't play perfectly, the dodge and the damage reduction should allow you to make a decent amount of mistakes, and buy you enough time to learn a fight and or squeeze through a fight without losing. So for this move, we want to get behind him. Clear the ads while he's spamming those projectiles. We also have polymorph if need be, if the ads are annoying. That windup was super long for some reason. Take care of the flags. Get behind him if you can. We're kind of in a weird spot, but we can make this work. Dodge that. Polymorph him if you want. Get him out of the way so he doesn't bother us. He's going to dash at us with those orbs up. Took a few hits there. That's okay. Put the cast behind him. Things are looking kind of okay. All right. Phase 2. I'm gonna get a few hits in real quick before we head over here. If you want to play it safe, you can just run straight to the spot. I think that's totally fine. Get some space. Dodge. You can play center here if you want to be really aggressive. Oh. Oh, whoops, whoops. I'm making mistakes. We're losing. We're dying. Hopefully you see, I'm not playing perfectly at all. And things are still going, they're going pretty okay. We're not playing perfect. But we're not dead yet. Good for us. Uh-oh. Things are getting kind of dicey now. I think at this point, you've seen that I've taken quite a few hits. I got a dodge there. Also super nice. We'll go over here. 482 health. Squeeze in a bit more damage. Dodge the scythe attack, hopefully. Dodge it again. And that is the run. Chronos kill on night 8. We don't have any completed Arcana. Nothing too crazy. There you go. I don't have anything else to say. I'll probably post some 32 fear runs on the channel just for reference if people need help with higher fear. But I hope this helps any of the new players that are still early in the game and want a little bit of help. All right, that's it. Take care. See ya.